I'm sure that many other channels have covered this. I have not, mostly because I didn't feel like I had much interesting to say about it. But hey, we are going to be talking about Lady Ballers and kind of the failure of the Daily Wire and basically kind of the fundamental flaw in conservative messaging and propaganda. So, without further ado, let's hop right into it, shall we? Now, we haven't I haven't actually watched the trailer for Lady Ballers. So I'm going to do that right now. We're going to have a little react to it. I'm sure it's very transphobic, but spoiler, I have seen 1 minute of the movie that is not the trailer. It was put out by one of Daily Wire's like partners. I think on Twitter they go by DC Drano. Um, so I've gone over that clip already, just personally, but I haven't seen the trailer, and we'll be going over that clip again today. It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre, but here we go. Lady Ballers Daily Wire Plus original. I don't really know what to expect other than it's probably going to be. Judging from the 1 minute clip I've seen prior to this is going to be weirdly both offensive but mostly non-offensive. Like they don't actually have the balls to commit to being offensive. So instead, it's just kind of this flaccid attempt at comedy, but nobody's laughing.
Guys, this is serious. Sports can be your pathway to a better life.
Well, like yours?
Are you gonna move?
I am not.
If you can beat them,
Coach, Alex, we could play basketball.
We'd have to get the whole team back together.
We're in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
join them.
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it.
A guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
That's called gender fluid.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice!
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes.
It's time
I'm with her.
to play
You mean my truth? This is my truth!
like a girl.
We could dominate every woman's sport. Running, swimming, soccer.
I said sport, Felix!
Lady Ballers, streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus.
Okay, I have a few questions here just from the trailer alone, right? So we're just gonna go through this real quick. Like the setup here is ostensibly like, oh yes, it's wrestling. Yeah, they had to let in a dude to wrestle this much smaller lady. Ha 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 ha. Except you have co-ed wrestling. They just do it by weight class. Like they don't match up. Like this is already a thing that happens, but they don't match up people of different weight classes against each other, generally speaking. So that's this is weirdly silly, but not in the way that they intended it to be. Also, again, like the Global Games US Open, if they did have wrestling like this, again, would match via weight class. But moving past that, it is weird that like the fundamental opening message of this movie is like, oh, this main character's life sucks. Therefore, he's going to recapture the glory days of his youth by getting his old high school basketball team back together to play against high school girls. Like, even bad 90s comedies would have a better premise than that, you know? Like, maybe that could be, like, a funny premise if you, like, had it like that, but, like, they don't even execute it well. Like, here's what I'm talking about, right? So, why in this meeting are they, like, I mean, it looks like they're in, like, I guess maybe a locker room? But why are they still wearing their wigs? Like, what? They're clearly in private here. Like, they aren't unless they're continuing to identify as women. In which case, like, that is kind of interesting to me that the Daily Wire would write a movie about that's oddly sympathetic in that way to trans people, but I know that's not their intention at all, right? They just didn't think through scenes like this, you know? And on top of that, like, are they trying to do high school sports? But also, just there's an 8-year-old girl here explaining gender to this group of dudes, right? And the Daily Wire is against, like, I don't know, putting sexuality in front of kids. You know, that's kind of like their whole thing, is like saying that they're against that, right? And literally, this is a scene from the trailer.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice.
You mean when you're sleeping?
Like he's talking about, like, sex in front of this 8-year-old child. Like, it's totally fine to talk about sex in front of a kid, according to this movie, I guess. Right? Because, like, the point of the movie here is to show, like, these are the types of conservative men who would get involved. Nah, not conservative men. But, like, these are the types of men who would get involved with this. But, like, you're the ones making the movie, right? Like, if conservatives had an actual example of something like this happening, they would use it all the time, right? They would use it all the time. Like, again, they're talking in front of this 8-year-old girl, and in the conservative movie that they have made, the guy's initial response to that is, "Sweet, so I can pretend to be a lady, but still bang chicks in the bedroom. High five." And that's just a weird joke, both for a conservative movie to make, from an outlet that ostensibly says, you know, putting sexuality in front of kids is bad. Yeah, even this trailer is just internally contradicting itself. Also, the Surfs, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. My name's Riverboat Jack. I'm a trans woman, and I'm going into Lady Ballers sight unseen. We're going through this trailer, and we'll be going through a lot of other things about it soon here. But welcome, y'all. Please hit the follow button, make yourselves comfy, and I hope you have a good time here.
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes.
It's time
I'm with her.
to play
Like, wait, I'm with her. Like, okay, wait. I'm with her. That's from almost 10 years ago. Like, it's I'm with her was like a fringe 2016 slogan for Hillary Clinton's campaign. And that's 7 years ago now. Like, I feel like that's on par with like someone trying to make a "what's up" joke, except more people would get it if it was "what's up." They'll never let it go. It's so bizarre.
Like a girl.
We could dominate every woman's sport. Running.
I also just love that, like, the messaging of this movie that conservatives are trying to put out there is women are just inferior to men. like who is this movie for? Like, even like half of your conservative audience that's gonna watch this is still gonna be like, man, I hate this.
Swimming. Soccer. I said sport, Felix.
Lady Ballers. Streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus.
I just there's so many elements to it. Yeah, we've got to get the high school gang back together to compete against ladies for an easy victory. I don't even know, dude. Like, even the movies that they're trying to parody here, like A League of Their Own, like, I don't know, dude. It's so weird. It doesn't even hit the mark that they're aiming for. And this is just in the trailer. So let's take a couple looks at some other stuff. Just a quick note here. Matt Walsh has called for Lizzo to be jailed for having drag queens at a show in Tennessee. You know, just to remind you guys how, like, deeply the people on the Daily Wire hate men in drag. Like, Matt Walsh has literally called for people to be jailed over this, and he just today retweeted this. Like, what's the hottest that someone has ever looked in a movie? Like, he's in a movie whose central premise is men essentially doing drag in order to win at sports, right? But I guess it's okay when he and his friends do it. You know, he doesn't have to go to jail. Jeremy Boring doesn't have to go to jail, I guess. But if Lizzo does it, well, jail for everyone. And, like, I mean, like, here's a video. We're not going to watch all of it, but drag queens are infiltrating the church. Yeah, bro. Who's putting them there? Who's doing the conservative push for drag queens in churches now? Because seems to be like you made an entire movie about that. Literally the opening scene, just with a colossal cock bulge. Their whole argument against trans women existing is that cis men are predators and will take advantage. Yeah. Like, I guess Matt Walsh and his friends are the predators who will take advantage. And you might be like, well, Jack, that's just not fair. That's just not fair of you. Here's Matt Walsh from earlier today. This is what sets the Daily Wire apart from any other conservative media company. We wanted to make a sports comedy mocking the trans insanity. We couldn't find enough actors brave enough to star in the film, so we just played the characters ourselves. Just that fact alone is funny as anything in the film. Like, people didn't want to, like, were so against working with them. They had to. Yeah, guys, this is what bravery looks like. Okay, this is bravery right here. Matt Walsh bravely stepping up to do the drag that he called on Tennessee to jail Lizzo for. So brave. So brave. God. Out of curiosity, I really want to know, where was Lady Ballers filmed? Interesting. Interesting. Filming locations: Nashville, Tennessee, USA. I get the state's recent legal restrictions on drag. Huh. Does that mean? I mean, I'm wondering if someone could bring a criminal complaint against Matt Walsh. Chat, if any one of you is a lawyer, you have the opportunity to do the funniest thing possible right now. You have the funniest thing. You have the opportunity to do the funniest thing possible and try and help bring criminal charges against Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire for violating the sanctity of Tennessee's anti-drag laws. It's the only way you could ethically enforce those laws. Oh God. I don't. I hate everything, but let me find joy in the hypothetical possibility of bringing the Daily Wire into a legal fight with the state of Tennessee over their stupid transphobic movie. Like, it's not even like a good or like interesting transphobic movie. Like, here's a clip. Here's the clip I watched. Okay, this is the one clip I had watched prior to the trailer. Oh goodness. It's just
Oh, and Mary Margaret showed me her penis.
Some boy showed you his penis?
What? No, not a boy, Daddy. Gross. Mary Margaret, she's a girl.
Girls don't have penises, Winnie.
Mary Margaret does. Penises are weird.
Can we stop saying penis, please? Where'd this happen, anyway?
In the bathroom.
Well, why are they letting boys...
just want to note the pathetic product placement in this of the Johnny the Walrus stuffed plushie from Matt Walsh's weird anti-trans walrus children's book.
In the bathroom.
Well, why are they letting boys in the girls' bathroom?
Why do you keep misgendering Mary Margaret?
Misgendering? What are you talking about?
It's very transphobic of you.
How do you know the word transphobic?
I'm 8 years old.
Exactly, you're 8 years old.
Okay, boomer.
You know what? It's fine. We'll just have to get you into a private school. Some of them have good sports programs.
Private schools reinforce white patriarchal privilege.
Teach you that at public school, did they?
No. Mommy's boyfriend Chris told me. He's an ally.
Is he? We'll see about that.
Can I just say, it is incredibly funny to me that the Daily Wire, in their own comedy movie that they wrote themselves, wrote a scene where Jeremy Boring, the CEO of the Daily Wire, gets owned by an 8-year-old and has no counter argument. Like, they don't even like try and say that this 8-year-old girl is wrong. She just owns them. And like, the best, like, one of the weirdest parts, this is literally being promoted on Twitter by the Twitter account DC Drano, who is a Daily Wire partner. Like, this isn't like somebody clipped this in order to try and make the movie look bad. This is to bolster his argument here. This scene from Lady Ballers is both comical yet horrifying. 8-year-old daughter tells her dad about how a girl showed her penis in the girl's bathroom. This is the dystopian reality being pushed by dem groomers on kids. This is our line in the sand. Enforce it and fight back. And it's just like, but you guys wrote the scene. Why did you not write it with a counter argument in the scene? Like the response Jeremy Boring has here is just like, where did you learn that? How do you know the word transphobic? Well, I guess we'll put you in a private school. your mom's boyfriend told you that? Like, even in the context of the movie, Jeremy Boring is a divorced loser. There's no, like, he doesn't provide a counter argument because they couldn't even think of one for the script of their movie. It's incredible how, like, tone deaf this entire movie must be. I haven't seen it. Maybe if you guys give me, like, subs and donos, I'll watch it for some godforsaken reason and do like a breakdown of the movie for you guys. But holy shit. The main thing is, and I really want to emphasize this is not a movie that's worth being upset about. It's mostly just a movie that's, like, inexplicable. I'm fascinated by the mystery of it. How many subs? For a combined 50 subs, if you guys wanted to make that a community goal. It's not worth it. That's the thing. It's probably just boring as shit. You know? Like, I my goodness. Hey, Paladin. But I really wanted to talk about this for a couple of different reasons. One, because it's very funny to me that by looking into this, I noticed that Ben Shapiro has redesigned the entire aesthetic of his channel. Now his videos are just titled Ben, which is it's very funny to me. Like, they've been testing out the aesthetic for a while, but they've been, like, going back and, like, adding videos to, like, you know, the aesthetic. You can see him back even just like a month ago. There's just, like, videos without really much of a thumbnail to them, and now it's just like everything's Ben, everything's coming up Ben, and I don't know. It's a weird redesign for him because it just doesn't look. It doesn't even look interesting. I can't even imagine anything less interesting than looking at what this guy has to say, you know? Oh shit. He did a Star Wars video with Critical Drinker. I really want to watch that, but we are on a tight schedule today. We'll watch this if we have time. But I just wanted to note the aesthetic change. And I know this clip has been going around a lot. Specifically, I think it's this one.
Streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus December 1st.
So that's the thing you did.
Yeah. We like to make friends.
So that happened.
Okay, so let's go back to the inception of this idea. So you approached me and you said we should make a fictional film about this topic. Now, to be fair, I think I'd actually suggested to the Crane Boys that they do this as a doc.
Yes.
I originally went to them and I said, you guys should, like, go try out for a bunch of ladies' leagues. And that became not possible because, as it turns out, most ladies' leagues don't allow in actual men. And they weren't willing to go full distance in terms of what it would require in order to, you know, the actual hormone treatments and everything to play in some of the ladies' leagues. But in any case, it turned into this. So explain.
So I don't know. I don't know how this made it through the initial conversation here. And I definitely don't know how it made it through editing. But Ben Shapiro, you know, master of conservative rhetoric, literally just undermined the entire conservative argument when it comes to trans women in sports. The entire argument is that, allowing trans women into sports will allow cis men to enter in and compete against unfairly cis women. And that there is and furthermore, the conservative argument is that there's really no difference between cis men and trans women. And Ben Shapiro here just straight up says, yeah, we tried to do this initially as a documentary, but the filmmakers looked into it, and it turns out nobody they knew was willing to go through hormone replacement therapy to meet the standards of any of these women's leagues. And yeah, that's because the conservative argument has always been horseshit. The conservative argument has always been like, oh yeah, it's so easy, bro. Like girls are playing against guys are playing against girls. It's just you just say you identify as something else and they let you into the league, bro. And it's like that's not how it works, like in any type of league. Like if it's involving like post-pubescent people. Like once you're in like 14, 15, 16, like you have to have been on hormone therapy to participate in the sports league of like the other the gendered sports, the other gender of the sports league, right? This is like, I mean, I can't remember a time when someone shot their own argument in the foot so hard with like the reality of what it takes, of like what the real situation is, right? Like Ben Shapiro's out there just being like, yeah, the reality is cis men don't want to go through hormone replacement therapy in order to prove a point about trans women in sports. They don't allow real men into women's leagues. Yeah. Funny that, isn't it? I mean, like it's on par with this legendary moment from the Joe Rogan show, right? I mean, like you guys probably remember this, but it's literally this moment, but on an even larger scale, because someone produced a movie that presumably cost millions of dollars to make.
People have had this. Millions of kids have been on hormone blockers. Really?
My guess is that we're into the millions now. It depends on what. I don't think we have exact numbers, but if we're talking all this stuff year over year, so it's the drugs.
Well, you should progress. You're an adult. This is a free.
Yeah, they will be, and I also.
You're talking about hormone blockers.
Yeah. I mean, I would guess hundreds of thousands at this, but I could be wrong.
Goes from millions to hundreds of thousands.
Million sounds great.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
The media man was having fun with that clip.
Yeah.
Matt Walsh claims it was 2008 and 2015. It's a massive increase, and over 1,000 girls had gender-affirming double mastectomies.
Over the last 5 years, there were at least 4,780 adolescents. That's over 5 years, so slightly over 1,000 adolescents per year. And he's saying there's hundreds of thousands, millions of children going through this. Like, we haven't seen like an embarrassment like this interaction here since Matt Walsh went on this. But again, I have to point out, there's not a multi-million-dollar movie predicated on what Matt Walsh is saying here. You know? It's wild, dog. It's yeah, none of us cis guys. Yeah, it turns out none of us cis guys wanted to inject ourselves with testosterone blockers and and estrogen to see what happens. Because it turns out most conservative cis dudes have some vague idea. You know, they might not believe the science when it comes to vaccines, but they have some vague idea that if they blocked the testosterone in their body and, you know, had estrogen instead, that they might have some bodily changes happen. You know, it turns out if they went into Biden's feminization camps, they might not come out the same way they went in. Okay, I'm just keeping it real with you guys. Conservatives know on an intuitive level that their argument against trans people is horse shit. They just continue to make the same horseshit argument and repeating it over and over and over to themselves until they believe it. That's kind of the secret, right? That's kind of the secret of big conservative lies. Just repeat it ad nauseum until it sounds like common sense, even if it flies in the face of every material reality that you encounter. As I recall, even that over 4,000 number is inflated because it's mostly 18 to 19-year-olds and it's not at all just trans boys. True. Yeah, it turns out the reality is hard to ignore. Hey, Purple Dragon guy. Yeah, it turns out even if you even if you took the hormones out of it, even if you were like, hey, random cis dude, would you like to have breast implants? We'll give you a bunch of money to do it. Most dudes are still not going to say yes to just even like removable breast implants. There's like the one story about a guy who did it on a dare, and it's actually a pretty interesting like rabbit hole to go down because it seems like he got like a broader perspective on like the world by doing it, but these people are too no. They know that they don't want to do something like that to themselves or their bodies because they know that there's fundamentally a difference between a trans woman's body and a cis man's body. They know that. I'll still take the money though. Sounds like an interesting story. Yeah, maybe we'll go down it sometime. I didn't prep it for today, and we do have a lot to talk about today. But just to really hammer it all home, Ben Shapiro knows he's full of shit. Jeremy Boring knows he's full of shit. Matt Walsh knows he's full of shit. None of these people, by the way, believe that they're full of shit. But the fact that Ben Shapiro is able to say, without any sense of self-awareness, that like, yeah, we tried to make this a documentary, but it turns out our ridiculous conception of the world isn't backed up by any material reality. He's able to say that with a straight face just because he believes otherwise. You know? Did I cover the Venezuela situation? I did indeed. I mean, we talked about Venezuela and Guyana already. But yeah, it's a strange situation, but I think it really highlights the mental dissonance that many conservatives have to live with in order to hold their political position. And there we go. End of segment. How we all doing? How we all doing, folks? Just want to say a big thank you to Snow Allen, Counter Dragoon, Canceling Culture, and William Knights for hitting the follow button over on Twitch. And folks, we've been going for about 2 hours now. If you've been enjoying the show or getting any interesting info out of this, please hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the like button on the YouTube stream, and consider dropping some subs or donos, because this show is brought to you by viewers like you. And without you guys doing subs and donos, I do not make the ad revenue to actually do this for a living. So continue to drop some subs or donos, because those are what keep this show going. Thank you. That other Ted, thank you all for hitting the follow button as well. Yeah, I mean, it is very impressive how in like 2 to 3 sentences, Ben Shapiro destroyed like the entire premise of like, I don't know, 70, 60% of like Daily Wire's content. Like it's the foundational premise behind the entire conservative push to limit trans rights. Remember, like the wedge issue they used was trans women in cis women's sports, or trans women in women's sports rather.